Hello and welcome back to the Wellness FOURplay podcast. I am Dr. Don D. Nettles. I am your host. Sometimes you will see me. Sometimes you will see my wife, Marcy. Sometimes you will see both of us. And sometimes you'll see us with a guest. You never know what you're going to get here on the Wellness FOURplay podcast, but we are excited to be back on the Wellness FOURplay podcast. And let me share with you the new format. So we are going to do 4 a day to hold off the gray. That 4 may be tips. It may be ideas. It may be pathways in the human body. It may just be 4 minutes of a single wellness topic. But why 4? If you look at the spelling, which is intentional, the spelling of FOURplay, it's kind of a play on the number 4 and the real word foreplay. Because what is foreplay all about? It's to get you in the mood. And we want to get you, and yes, I mean you, in the mood for wellness, because wellness is very, very important. And we're not just going to talk about physical wellness, though we will definitely talk about it and oftentimes take deep dives. But we're going to talk about relationship wellness. We're going to talk about family wellness and having good relationships with your parents and your kids and your grandkids and your neighbors, wherever it is, in relationships, specifically on family. We're going to talk about marital wellness. We're going to talk about financial wellness, because there is definitely something to be said about the opposite, which is financial illness. And there's a lot of that going around. And I want to talk about, first of all, why wellness? What is wellness? Wellness is the absence of any illness and the presence of all things awesome. And that's really what we want to talk about here on the Wellness FOURplay podcast, is all things awesome, so that you can benefit from it. So the format is going to be, like I said, 4 a day to hold off the gray. And we want to keep these episodes really, really short, which is why the number 4. So the number 4 is a complete number. So if you look at 4 in relation to directions, we have north, south, east, and west. So if you look at how far the east is from the west and how far the north is from the south, you're talking about everywhere. So when we talk about the 4 directions, we are encompassing any place you could possibly go physically or in your mind, because emotional wellness is also very, very important. But let's talk about the timeline of that. The 4 seasons: we have spring, we have summer, we have fall, and we have winter, which encompasses the whole time. So 24/7, 365. Again, another example of the number 4. So 4 seasons, 4 directions. That's kind of going to be our approach in totality of the Wellness FOURplay podcast. So let me give you a visual on something and share with you why we're doing this in the first place. So if you look at wellness, the opposite of wellness is illness, right? So a lot of times when people are on a quest for illness, it's because the presence of this is not a good word. This is the word illness. But I want you to focus on the very first letter of this word, which I put in a different color. And I want to use this as the approach of, now take that first letter and in its own word. It's a word by itself. So I. If you look at the approach of the Wellness FOURplay podcast, if I was just here sharing information with you and you were not benefiting from the information, then it is a singular approach. So if I give you information, but you don't benefit from the information, the end result is you're going to stay in this space, because it's only I that is working on this. Or what about you? Let's say the I is you, and you have illness and you want to do something about it, but you don't do research. You don't seek out the advice of other people. You don't go see a specialist, or you don't go on Dr. Google and do your own research. So you're not involving other people, other references, other resources. You, again, will stay in the word. But let's say we took this singular approach into a group approach and we changed the strategy. Okay, so let's say you listened to this podcast. I am sharing information with you. You are implementing that information into your life. And then if it is really impactful, you're turning around and sharing it with other people. So we take on this group effort. Look at the word now. When we handle it as a collective, the illness turns into wellness. And that is the entire approach of this podcast, is to spread wellness in all four directions, in all four seasons, all the time, so that you benefit from it. That is the entire approach to the podcast and why we are so passionate about this and so excited to be back. So again, in summary, before I sign off here, the Wellness FOURplay podcast is going to be 4 a day to hold off the gray. For what? It's going to be tips or ideas or strategies or segments of something or just 4 minutes of a certain topic. It's going to be around the word for, so we're going to keep it short and brief because 4 is easy to remember. Kind of a tidbit, fun fact. You know why phone numbers have 7 numbers? 7 is not 4, but do you know why they have 7 numbers? Because 7 numbers is about the limit of what humans can remember. So it's why they have 7-digit phone numbers. Well, 7 is harder to remember than 4. 4 is pretty easy. So you don't have to worry about waiting, getting some note paper out, or recording the episode, or watching the video and taking notes. 4 topics or 4 ways of doing something is pretty simple, and it's pretty easy to instantly listen and turn right around and implement in your life, because we don't want the I approach to be making it too complex to implement so that I am just the one sharing, you are not the one benefiting, and illness is something that you retain. We want you to evict that word out of your vocabulary, out of your life, and out of the approach to wellness. Don't go at this with the I approach. Go at illness with a we approach, where you and I work together. We give you information and utilize other sources as well. But utilize the information. When you benefit from getting information from other sources and you turn around and share it with others, we all benefit. And the bigger the we, the bigger the wellness. And the bigger the wellness, the more happiness and joy and prosperity and thriving environments we spread around the world. So thank you. Welcome back to the Wellness FOURplay podcast. We are super excited moving forward. We will see you tomorrow with another episode on the topic of 4. Got a surprise tomorrow, so show up. Have a wonderful day. Take care. God bless everybody.